And today we have an insightful and great interview with Dee Bounds. Dee, thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Now, Dee, you started in real estate at a very young age. What did you do to get started?
One of the major things that I was fortunate enough to be brought up with was my father saying to me, if there's anything you want to do in life, go and do it yourself, achieve it yourself. Nobody's going to help you along the way. It's all up to you, and you can do. So, you know, when I saw your seminar on Saturday about the ceiling, there is no such thing as a ceiling. It's up to you to decide how far you want to go. So one of the first things I had to do, obviously, was to generate some cash, some income, in order to be able to put together a deposit to buy my first property, but be smart about that property so that you could get capital gains. Many years ago in Sydney, as I believe that's where you're from too, there were great opportunities. So I started working after school and packing fruit and then got into the IT industry to save some cash to buy my first property on the Lower North Shore. And basically within a space of 12 months, the market had actually changed. I decided to move on from there. And I think by the time I was 24, I got into property development full time. So I got a taste for it, an understanding of what was happening. So that was just, you know, a brief little...
Now, Dee, you said something which is really intriguing. You said it right now and you said it off camera before. Your dad. Your dad kept telling you how important is parental or authority figures' influence in creating wealth mentality in people?
I think self-esteem, part of having the support of your mother and father, and especially for a girl, fathers and daughters and mothers and sons, you always hear about those correlations. It's really important to know that you can do. You're able to achieve something. Too often we hear as children, don't do that, you may hurt yourself. Don't go there, it's not going to work. Don't do that, you may upset people. But I got the opposite. Why not give it a go? There was no downside to it. I mean, it may not work, but certainly you'll gain something from it, so you can possibly go down another direction.
Did your parents influence your thinking when it came to prosperity and wealth?
No, not at all. They were very content. And I think that's probably what's helped me as well, because I'm not driven by the money so much as I'm driven by the success, the thrill of the chase of the deal. And it's evolved from there. So I'm wealthy within because I'm very content with the journey that I'm taking and where I'm at, and I take stock every time. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I was taught.
So how did you, what are some of the keys to being successful in real estate game? I mean, you know, many of the people listening are in real estate, and Australians have got a love of real estate. What do you look for?
I think it's really important to understand what side of the fence that you're working from. Are you looking for a personal investment or are you looking for a home to live in? So depending on the discipline that you're actually pursuing and chasing. So if you're looking from investment, you need to be unemotional about it. You need to say to yourself, who is going to be the buyer for this particular product? Be it an apartment or be it a home or be it a development site. Who is your buyer at the end of the day? So you've got to be commercial about that aspect of it. And then try to do your figures backwards. What's the the most amount of money that somebody's going to pay for that particular product at that time, in that location, in that market? None of us have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen in 2, 3 or 4 years' time. We can only work within the market that's available to us today. So it's understanding the market. So knowing people and also liking people, I think is really important. Now, certainly from my own perspective, I actually like people. I'm interested in hearing what they have to say and how they think. And certainly that psychology has been invaluable in my success in what I've done.
As a woman, you know, which, you know, a lot of people, it's a little bit harder out there for women, isn't it? I mean, at least from what you hear in newspapers anyway.
I think so, but there's also two schools of thought there. You know, I never thought of myself as a female in a male-dominated industry. I just saw myself as a female in an industry that was heavily influenced by men, but not dominated by men. I didn't actually consider there to be a challenge, so I never competed on a masculine level. You see a lot of women that are in business that try really hard to be like the blokes, you know, to almost lose their femininity through the whole process. I mean, I'll work on a construction site with, you know, my girly shoes on and my little tight skirt and a hard hat.
What
and
construction site was that?
And I make no apologies for it. And I think that that's important for women to also understand. You don't need to become hard. You don't need to be like one of the blokes in order to be successful. Just be who you are and be confident and focused in your direction.
That's one of the most powerful things in all the interviews I've done over the years, and I've done a lot of interviews, and especially with ladies, and that's probably one of the most powerful things I've ever heard said.
Oh, thank you.
Especially for women out there, because they feel like they've got to be blokey or they've got to be hard or they've got to be, and they don't. Their femininity is the most attractive thing about them. Dee, you're a very wise and successful lady. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for being part of it.
Thank you.
Well, guys, there you go. And make sure you look up Dee by Design to see what she's got to offer. I know this lady can help you go to another level. Have a prosperous life.